I want a divorce. The words hit Zayn like a physical blow. She sat in the sterile lawyer's office, still in her black funeral dress. Her father had been buried 3 days ago, and now she was watching her husband of 4 years slide divorce papers across the table without meeting her eyes. Marcus, Zayn's voice cracked. I'm pregnant. We're having a baby. A baby I never agreed to. Marcus finally looked at her, and Zayn saw a stranger. Cold. Calculating. Done. I told you I wasn't ready for kids, Zayn. You got pregnant anyway. It was an accident. Well, it's not my problem anymore. He tapped the divorce papers. I'm marrying Victoria. The wedding's already planned for next month. Sign the papers and let's end this cleanly. Zayn stared at him. Your mistress. You're leaving me while I'm pregnant with your child to marry the woman you've been cheating on me with. Don't be dramatic. Marcus checked his watch, the Rolex she'd given him for their anniversary, bought with overtime money from her social work job. Victoria and I are in love. We have been for almost a year now. You and I, we were never a good fit, Zayn. You know that. Zayn looked down at the divorce settlement. Her hands trembled with rage, not sadness. $50,000. He was offering her $50,000 to walk away from 4 years of marriage. The marriage where she'd worked 2 jobs to put him through his final year of law school. Where she'd smiled at his colleagues' condescending remarks about her cute little social work job. Where she'd buried her own dreams to build his. Your father's gone now, Marcus continued, straightening his Rolex. No offense, but without him, you're back to being broke. Victoria comes from the kind of family that can help my career. You understand, don't you? It's just business. Zayn's phone buzzed. A text from her father's attorney. Don't sign anything. Your father left you $47 billion and an empire. The will reading is tomorrow by 9 a.m. There's more, your father was murdered. You're in danger. I'm sending protection. His name is Kang Min-jun. Zayn looked at Marcus, this man who thought she was worthless, and she smiled. I'll give you my answer in 24 hours, she said quietly. After I claim my inheritance. 24 hours later, Zayn walked into Marcus's engagement party on the arm of the most dangerous man in the city. Hello besties, welcome back. If you love dark romance, revenge, and strong women who don't play games, smash that subscribe button and like this video because this story is about to get wild. Drop a crown in the comments if your team, make him regret everything. Now let's get into it. The next morning, Zayn sat in her father's lawyer's office, a very different kind of lawyer. Attorney Kim was a small, elderly Korean man with sharp eyes that missed nothing. He'd flown in from Seoul specifically for this reading of the will. Miss Okonkwo, he began, and Zayn noticed he didn't use her married name. Your father was very specific about when you should learn the truth. He wanted to tell you himself, but... He slid a tablet across the desk. Her father's face appeared on the screen, healthy, vibrant, recorded maybe a month before the heart attack that killed him. My beautiful Zayn, her father's voice filled the room. If you're watching this, I'm gone. And it's time you knew who I really was. 45 minutes later, Zayn walked out of that office a different woman. Her father wasn't just wealthy. He was Samuel, the Lion Okonkwo, a trillionaire who'd built an empire spanning technology, real estate, and strategic imports and exports across 3 continents. The inheritance? $47 billion in assets. Companies. Properties. And most importantly, alliances with some of the most powerful families in the world, both legitimate and not. Her father had protected her from this world, raised her normal, kept her safe. But he'd also trained her without her knowing, all those business trips where he'd taught her negotiation, strategy, how to read people, multiple languages. You have enemies now, my daughter, her father had said on the video. People who will want what's yours. Trust only the names on the list Attorney Kim gives you. Especially trust Kang Min-jun. His father and I were brothers in all but blood. Min Jun will protect you, if you're smart enough to let him. Attorney Kim handed her a phone. It's secure. There's only one number programmed. When you're ready, call it. Mr. Kong is expecting you. And my husband? Zane asked, her mind already racing. Attorney Kim's smile was razor-sharp. Your father suspected Marcus was a problem. We've had him investigated. Would you like to see the file? Oh, yes. Yes, she would. In the file, Zane discovered that Marcus wasn't just cheating with Victoria. He'd been systematically stealing from Zane, credit cards in her name, a second mortgage on the small house her grandmother left her, even her identity to secure loans. He'd buried her $200,000 in debt while wearing $1,000 suits. And there was more. Victoria's family company was on the verge of bankruptcy. The marriage wasn't love, it was a business merger with Marcus as the bought-and paid-for groom. Zane sat in her father's penthouse, her penthouse now, in a building she owned, and stared at the secure phone. She had two choices. 1. Take the high road. Use lawyers. Drag Marcus through court. Be reasonable. 2. Make a call. Zane thought about her baby. About the life growing inside her that Marcus had rejected. About every dream she'd deferred, every insult she'd swallowed, every time she'd made herself smaller so Marcus could feel bigger. She dialed the number. It rang once. Ms. Okonkwo. The voice was deep, accented, and sent an involuntary shiver down her spine. I've been waiting for your call. My condolences about Uncle Samuel. Mr. Kong. Min Jun, please. Your father and mine didn't stand on ceremony. Neither should we. A pause. I assume you've learned about your inheritance. Yes. And I assume you're calling because someone needs to learn why betraying a queen is a fatal mistake. Zane's breath caught. How did you? Your husband filed divorce papers yesterday. He also tried to access your father's estate, claiming marital assets. Min Jun's voice turned cold. He was redirected. Zane, I'm going to ask you a question, and I need you to answer honestly. Okay. Do you want justice, or do you want revenge? No one had ever asked her that. Everyone always expected her to be reasonable. Forgiving. The bigger person. Revenge, she whispered. Then, louder, I want revenge. Good. She could hear the smile in his voice. A car will pick you up in an hour. Wear something that makes you feel powerful. It's time the world met the real Zane Okonkwo. Where are we going? Your husband is celebrating his engagement to his mistress tonight. At the Azure Lounge. Min Jun paused. How would you like to make an entrance? The Azure Lounge was where the elite played. Zane had never been there before. Marcus always said it was for clients and she wouldn't fit in. Looking at herself in the mirror now, she almost laughed at who she'd allowed herself to become. The woman looking back was a warrior. Her natural hair was styled in an elegant updo that showcased her father's gold earrings, 5 carats each. The black dress hugged every curve while still being sophisticated, custom Da Vinci that Attorney Kim had delivered along with a note, your father ordered this for your birthday. He had exquisite taste. Red lips. Gold heels. And her father's signet ring on her right hand, the lion crest that would mean something to the people who mattered. The knock on her door came exactly on time. But instead of a driver, the man standing in her hallway made her heart stop. Kong Min Jun was devastatingly beautiful. Tall, broad-shouldered, with the kind of face that belonged in Korean dramas except for the scar that cut through his left eyebrow and the predatory edge in his dark eyes. He wore a black suit, and he looked at Zane like she was a masterpiece. You're Samuel's daughter, he said quietly, and it wasn't a question. You have his eyes. And you're Min Jun. Zane refused to be intimidated, even though her pulse was racing. You're younger than I expected. His smile was dangerous. You're stronger than your father feared. He worried this life would break you. Min Jun offered his arm. Shall we go break your husband instead? The car was a Maybach, black, sleek, bulletproof according to the casual way Min Jun mentioned it. Inside, he handed her a glass of champagne. "You're pregnant," he noted, then smiled at her surprised look. "I make it my business to know everything, Zane. It's how I stay alive. But congratulations. Children are precious. My husband doesn't think so." "Your husband is a fool." Min Jun's voice was flat. "Let me tell you what's going to happen tonight. We walk in together. He'll see you, the new you. Then I'm going to introduce you to some people. Business associates who knew your father. By the end of the night, Marcus Wright will understand exactly what he threw away. And then you decide what happens to him." Min Jun turned to face her fully. "Your father's empire is yours, Zane. But empires require ruthlessness. Can you be ruthless?" She thought of her baby. Of the future. Of the fact that Marcus had planned to leave her broke, pregnant, and alone. "Yes," Zane said. "I can." "Then let's begin your coronation, Your Majesty." The Azure Lounge fell silent when they walked in. Not immediately, but like dominoes, conversation stopped as people recognized Min Jun. Kong Min Jun didn't come to these events. He was a ghost, a rumor, the Korean CEO whose legitimate business empire supposedly hid something far darker. And he was holding Zane's hand like she was the only woman in the room. Zane spotted Marcus immediately. He was at the bar with Victoria, her hand showing off an embarrassingly large diamond ring. They were laughing, drinking champagne that Zane's debt was probably paying for. "Breathe," Min Jun murmured. "Let them come to you." He guided her to the VIP section, the area that Marcus had always pointed out wistfully. The moment they sat, a server appeared with premium champagne and appetizers Zane hadn't ordered. "Mr. Kong, welcome. Anything you need?" "We're fine. Thank you." Min Jun's dismissal was polite but absolute. Then, to Zane, "See the man in the gray suit? That's Director Hamilton. Your father's company supplies the technology for his entire security division. He's been waiting to meet Samuel's heir." "You're serious?" "Always." Min Jun stood, offered his hand. "Come. It's time." The next hour was a blur. Director Hamilton. Senator Morrison. CEO Park. CEO Williams. Every major player in the room. Min Jun brought them to Zane, introduced her as Samuel Okonkwo's daughter and heir, and watched as understanding, and respect, dawned in their eyes. Zane wasn't just some random woman. She was royalty they hadn't known existed. "You have your father's mind for strategy," CEO Park said in Korean, which Zane understood perfectly thanks to her father's insistence she learn languages. "He would be proud of the woman you've become." When she responded in flawless Korean, thanking him, Min Jun's expression was pure pride. And across the room, Marcus had finally noticed her. She watched the confusion cross his face. Then the recognition. Then the shock as he saw who she was with, who she was talking to, the way powerful men were bowing slightly when they greeted her. "Zane." Marcus appeared at her elbow, Victoria trailing behind. "What are you doing here?" "And who?" He stopped, finally recognizing Min Jun from business journals. "Mr. Kong. I'm Marcus Wright, attorney at." "I know who you are," Min Jun said coldly. "You're the man who filed for divorce from my date." "Date?" The word hung in the air like a bomb. Victoria's eyes narrowed. "I'm sorry, your date." "Marcus, I thought you said your wife was some kind of social worker who couldn't even." "Zane, can we talk privately?" Marcus's voice was tight. "I don't know what's going on, but..." "But what, Marcus?" Zane's voice was sweet poison. "But I'm supposed to sign your papers and disappear. But I'm not supposed to move on with my life 24 hours after you destroyed our marriage. You're pregnant with my child. A child you said you never wanted." Zane stood, and Min Jun's hand went to the small of her back, possessive, protective. "A child you were willing to abandon for, what did you offer me?" $50,000. People were watching now. This was better than any show. Marcus's face went red. This is inappropriate. Victoria and I are engaged. Congratulations, Min-jun said. I believe the Lancaster family is celebrating their upcoming merger. I heard Victoria's father's company is in quite a bit of trouble. $340 million in debt, if I recall correctly. Victoria went pale. How do you? That's confidential. Nothing is confidential from me, Miss Lancaster. Min-jun smiled like a shark. But I'm sure Marcus will make a fine addition to your family's desperate attempts to avoid bankruptcy. Zane. Marcus grabbed her arm, and immediately Min-jun moved, fluid, dangerous, placing himself between them. Touch her again, Min-jun said quietly, and you'll lose the hand. Security was already moving toward them. Marcus, we should go, Victoria hissed. But Marcus was staring at Zane like he was seeing a stranger. Where did you get that dress? Those diamonds? How do you know Kong Min-jun? What the hell is happening? Zane smiled. You said it yourself, Marcus. My father's gone. I'm back to being me. She leaned closer. You just never knew who me really was. Sign the divorce papers. Don't contact me again. And pray I'm feeling merciful when my lawyers review all those loans you took out in my name. She had the satisfaction of watching him go from red to white. You knew about. I know everything, Zane said. Goodbye, Marcus. Min-jun guided her away, his hand warm and steady against her back. Behind them, she could hear Victoria demanding explanations, Marcus stammering, the whispers already spreading through the crowd. Outside, in the cool night air, Zane started shaking. You did well, Min-jun said gently. The first battle is always the hardest. That wasn't hard, Zane whispered. That felt good. Min-jun laughed, a real laugh, surprised and delighted. Samuel said you had fire underneath all that sweetness. He was right. He opened the car door for her. Come. The night is young, and you have an empire to claim. But first, are you hungry? The baby needs food, and I know a place that makes the best Korean soul food fusion you've ever tasted. Zane slid into the car, her heart racing with adrenaline and something else. Something dangerous. Min-jun. Why are you helping me? He was quiet for a moment. Your father saved my life when I was 17. Saved my family. I owed him a debt I could never repay. His eyes met hers. But that's not why I'm here right now. Then why? Because the moment I saw you walk out in that dress, looking like a queen ready to burn down kingdoms. Min-jun's smile was soft and devastating. That was for entirely selfish reasons, Zane Okonkwo. And we're going to have to discuss that very soon. The car pulled away from the Azure Lounge, leaving Marcus and Victoria and Zane's old life in the rearview mirror. Her new life, dangerous, powerful, and thrilling, was just beginning. The restaurant was in Koreatown, tucked between a karaoke bar and a tea shop. From outside, it looked like nothing special. Inside was a different world. Mr. Kong. The owner, a tiny Korean grandmother, practically ran to greet them. Then she saw Zane and stopped, her hand flying to her mouth. Oh. Oh, you look just like him. Mrs. Kim knew your father, Min-jun explained. This was one of his favorite places. Mrs. Kim grabbed Zane's hands, tears in her eyes. Samuel was a good man. A good man. He helped my family when no one else would. She cupped Zane's face. You have his spirit. I can see it. Come, come. I'll make you his favorite dishes. They were led to a private room in the back, the kind of room, Zane realized, where business was discussed. Serious business. As soon as they were alone, Min-jun's demeanor shifted. The charming companion became the Mafia boss. We need to talk about your safety, he said. Your father's death wasn't a heart attack. Zane had suspected. Murdered? We're still investigating. But yes. Min Jun pulled out his phone, showed her photos. Your father had enemies. Business rivals who wanted his territories. Some will try to intimidate you into selling. Others will try to kill me. Yes. Min Jun's jaw tightened. Which is why I'm assigning you protection. And why I need to know, are you ready to run your father's empire? The real empire, not just the legitimate businesses. Zane thought about the files she'd read. Her father had been many things: importer, exporter, strategist. He'd moved money, information, and occasionally things less legal across borders. But he'd also built schools, funded hospitals, lifted entire communities. The underground work, she said carefully. What exactly are we talking about? Information. Protection. Strategic imports, mostly technology and medicine that governments overtax or restrict. Your father didn't deal in drugs, weapons, or human trafficking. He had lines he wouldn't cross. Min Jun leaned back. But he wasn't a saint either. Can you live with the gray areas? Can you? His smile was sharp. I live in the gray areas, Zane. I was born in them. Mrs. Kim returned with food: Korean fried chicken, kimchi fried rice, seafood pancakes, and what she called soul food fusion that included the best mac and cheese Zane had ever tasted. Eat, eat. Mrs. Kim insisted. The baby needs strength. As they ate, Min Jun told her stories. About her father's early days. About the alliance between the Okonkwo and Kong families. About Min Jun's own rise to power after his father's death. I was 22, he said quietly. Too young, too angry, too reckless. Your father taught me strategy. Patience. How to turn enemies into assets. He met her eyes. He taught me how to survive in a world designed to destroy men like us. And now? Now I run the Kong family operations across 7 countries. Technology, real estate, entertainment, and the shadow work that funds it all. Min Jun poured her water, himself whiskey. I'm telling you this because if we're going to work together, you need to know who I am. And who are you, Kong Min Jun? He was quiet for a long moment. I'm the monster that keeps worse monsters in check. I'm ruthless, strategic, and I haven't failed at anything I've committed to in 12 years. His eyes darkened. And right now, I'm a man trying very hard to remember that you're pregnant, freshly divorced, and Samuel's daughter, instead of noticing that you're the most captivating woman I've met in my entire life. The air between them went electric. Min Jun. I know. He held up a hand. The timing is terrible. You're vulnerable. This would be me taking advantage. He stood abruptly. Which is why I'm going to walk away right now and give you space to think. About your empire. About what you want your life to look like. About whether you want my help, just my help, or something more complicated. Zane stood too, her heart pounding. And if I want complicated? Then I need you to be sure, Min Jun said roughly. Because once I start something, Zane, I finish it. And if I pursue you, not as Samuel's daughter, not as a business obligation, but as a woman I want, I don't do anything halfway. The door opened and Mrs. Kim bustled in with dessert, breaking the tension. But as they left the restaurant an hour later, Min Jun's hand found the small of Zane's back again, and she realized something terrifying and thrilling. She was already sure. The next morning, Min Jun's security team moved Zane into her father's penthouse properly. Not that she had much to move. Marcus had already served her with eviction papers from their apartment, which she now knew was funded by debt in her name. This is Jin Soo, your head of security, Min Jun introduced a serious-looking Korean man built like a tank. He was your father's right hand. Jin Soo, this is little Zane. Jin Soo's serious face broke into a huge smile. But not so little now. Last time I saw you, you were 5 years old, trying to steal your father's kimchi. The memory hit Zane like a wave. Uncle Jin. You used to sneak me ice cream. Your father pretended not to notice. Jin-Soo's smile faded. I'm sorry I couldn't save him, Miss Okonkwo. But I swear on my life, I will protect you. As her security team swept the penthouse, again, Attorney Kim arrived with documents. The divorce, he said, looking pleased. Mr. Wright signed this morning. He's also agreed to a full financial audit and repayment plan for the debts he accumulated in your name. He agreed to that. Zane was surprised. Min-Jun smiled from where he was reviewing security protocols. Let's just say he received some encouragement. What kind of encouragement? The kind where my lawyers explained that fraud is a felony, and his fiancée's father received documentation about certain improprieties in the upcoming merger. Min-Jun didn't look up from his tablet. Marcus Wright is very motivated to cooperate now. Attorney Kim cleared his throat. There's also the matter of your father's companies. The board of directors is requesting a meeting. They want to know if you'll be taking over as CEO or appointing someone else. Zane looked at the documents, subsidiaries, holdings, investments. Billions of dollars waiting for her decision. I'll meet them, she said. But not yet. First, I need to understand what I'm walking into. Smart, Min-Jun approved. Your father kept detailed records. Everything you need to know is in his private office. He finally looked up, his gaze intense. I can help you prepare. If you want. What would that entail? 2 weeks. You move into my building, separate floor, separate apartment, where security is already established. Every day, I teach you everything your father would have, business strategy, negotiation, how to read financial statements, who to trust, who to destroy. Min-Jun set down his tablet. And in the evenings, you rest, eat properly, and take care of yourself and the baby. Jin-Soo nodded approvingly. Boss Samuel would have wanted this. Miss Zane needs training. I'm not a child, Zane said. No, Min-Jun agreed. You're a queen who hasn't learned her power yet. Let me teach you, Zane. 2 weeks. Then you can decide if you want to run the empire yourself, work with me, or sell everything and disappear to a beach somewhere. It was a test, Zane realized. He was giving her an out. Seeing if she'd run or fight. What's in it for you? She asked bluntly. Min-Jun's smile was dangerous and honest. Alliance with the Okonkwo Empire. Strategic partnership worth billions. He paused. And 2 weeks of seeing you every day while I try very hard to be professional and not seduce you. Not seduce me. I'm trying to be noble, Min-Jun said dryly. Your father would haunt me otherwise. Zane made her decision. Okay. 2 weeks. But I have conditions. Name them. 1. I'm not helpless. I won't be coddled or managed. Agreed. 2. You're honest with me. Always. About the business, the dangers, and, whatever this is between us. Min-Jun's eyes heated. Agreed. 3. At the end of 2 weeks, I make my own choice about the empire and my life. No pressure. Agreed. Min-Jun stood, offered his hand. Do we have a deal, Miss Okonkwo? Zane shook it, feeling the electricity spark between them. We have a deal, Mr. Khan. Then pack your things. Min-Jun's smile was pure sin. Your education begins tonight. Min-Jun's building was in the most exclusive part of the city, the kind of place with its own security, private elevators, and a view that cost more than most people's houses. Her apartment was on the 45th floor. His was on the 46th. The entire floor is yours, Min-Jun explained, showing her around. Kit Kim is stocked. Jin-Soo's team is stationed on 44. If you need anything, there's a phone that connects directly to me. The apartment was stunning, modern, spacious, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. But what caught Zane's attention was the second bedroom. It had been converted into a nursery. Soft gray walls. A crib that probably cost more than a car. A rocking chair by the window. Shelves ready for books and toys. Min-Jun. Zane's voice caught. Your father ordered it, Min Jun said quietly. When he found out you were pregnant. He was excited to be a grandfather. He handed her an envelope. He left you this too. Inside was a letter in her father's handwriting. My dearest Zane. By the time you read this, you'll know the truth about who I was. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you myself. I wanted to give you a normal life, free from the darkness that defined mine. But blood will tell, my daughter. You have my strength, my mind, my fire. And now you have my empire. Don't be afraid of it. You were born for this. Trust Min Jun. His father and I built our kingdoms together, and I trust his son with my most precious treasure, you. And know that whether you choose to rule or walk away, I'm proud of you. You are my greatest achievement. All my love. Dad. P.S. The baby will need a strong name. I always liked Simone for a girl, Samuel for a boy. But you'll choose what's right. Zane was crying before she finished reading. Min Jun handed her a tissue, said nothing, just stood there, a silent, solid presence while she grieved. Finally, she wiped her eyes. Thank you. For this. All of it. Your father was family, Min Jun said simply. Which makes you family. And I protect my family. He checked his watch. It's late. Rest tonight. Tomorrow, we start training. 6 a.m. 6 a.m. His smile was wicked. Empires aren't built by sleeping in, Zane. Welcome to your new life. The next 2 weeks were brutal and exhilarating. Min Jun wasn't kidding about training. Every morning at 6 a.m., he'd arrive at her apartment with coffee and files. They'd work through her father's business empire, every company, every deal, every alliance. This subsidiary in Singapore, Min Jun would say. What's its purpose? Medical supply imports, Zane would answer. But also information routing. Your father helped political refugees get documentation. Min Jun nodded. Good. And this one in Lagos? On and on, until Zane could recite every aspect of her father's empire. In the afternoons, they'd role-play negotiations. I'm a rival CEO, Min Jun would say, his demeanor shifting. I want to buy your tech division for 30% under value. Convince me why that's not happening. At first, Zane was terrible at it. Too nice, too willing to compromise. Again, Min Jun would say. You're not asking for permission, Zane. You're informing me of reality. Again. By day 10, she made him smile. Better, he said, after she'd verbally destroyed his fake negotiation position. You're starting to enjoy the power. Is that bad? No. Min Jun's eyes were dark with something that wasn't quite professional. It's incredibly attractive. The tension between them grew every day. It was in the way Min Jun's hand would linger when he passed her documents. The way Zane caught him watching her when he thought she wasn't looking. The late-night calls that started about business and ended with personal stories. Why aren't you married? Zane asked one night, during a call that had stretched past midnight. Min Jun was quiet. My world is dangerous. The women I meet either want my money or are terrified of my reputation. A pause. I decided years ago I'd rather be alone than settle for someone who doesn't see all of me. And what would you want? If you could have anything. Partnership, Min Jun said immediately. Someone as strong as me. Someone who understands this world but isn't corrupted by it. Someone I can trust at my back in a boardroom or a battle. His voice went rough. Someone I can't stop thinking about, no matter how inappropriate the timing is. Zane's heart raced. Min Jun. Go to sleep, Zane, he said softly. We have an early morning. But neither of them hung up for another 10 minutes. Day 14 arrived too fast. Last lesson, Min Jun said, arriving at her apartment. But instead of files, he had a garment bag. Tonight, there's a gala. All the major players in your father's world will be there. This is your debut, not as my companion, but as yourself. The heir to the Okonkwo Empire. The dress was stunning, a deep emerald that complemented her skin tone perfectly, with a slit that was just scandalous enough to make a statement. The board of directors will be there, Min Jun continued. Rivals who want to buy you out. Allies who want to test you. This is your chance to claim your throne, Zane. He met her eyes. Are you ready? Zane thought about the last 2 weeks. Everything she'd learned. Everything she'd become. Yes, she said. I'm ready. Good. Min Jun's smile was proud and possessive. Then let's show them who you are. The Grand Regency ballroom glittered with money and power. Zane walked in on Min Jun's arm, and this time when conversation stopped, it wasn't just because of him. It was because of her. She wore her father's empire like a crown, confident, regal, untouchable. The emerald dress moved like water, and the jewelry, her father's gifts, now hers, marked her as someone who belonged. Miss Okonkwo. A silver-haired man approached immediately. James Morrison, I served on your father's board. We're all eager to meet with you. Mr. Morrison. Zane's smile was polite and sharp. I'll be scheduling board meetings next week. My assistant will send details. She had an assistant now, Min Jun had hired her a full team. Of course, of course. And if you need any guidance, any help at all. I have all the guidance I need, Zane said smoothly, glancing at Min Jun, but I appreciate the offer. As Morrison walked away, Min Jun murmured, he wants to manipulate you into selling the medical division to his pharmaceutical company. I know. I read his file. Zane smiled. The answer will be no. Perfect. They worked the room like partners. Min Jun would identify the players, Zane would engage them, charming, sharp, revealing nothing while extracting everything. She met allies who promised support. Rivals who tested her with backhanded compliments. And several men who looked at her with interest that had nothing to do with business. Min Jun noticed. His hand went possessive on her waist. Easy, Zane murmured. Jealousy is showing. I'm not jealous, Min Jun said. I'm territorial. There's a difference. Is there? Before he could answer, a commotion near the entrance made everyone turn. Marcus and Victoria had just arrived. Zane hadn't known they'd be here, but of course they were. Victoria's father was trying to network his way out of bankruptcy. Marcus spotted her immediately. His face went through several emotions, shock, confusion, and something that looked like regret. He started toward her. Zane, I need to talk to you. Jinsu materialized out of nowhere, blocking his path. Mr. Wright. I don't think you're on the guest list for this section. I just want to talk to my wife. Ex-wife, Zane corrected, stepping forward. She was aware of the crowd watching, listening. Is there a problem, Marcus? He looked at her like a stranger. Who are you? The clothes, the jewelry, this whole. He gestured around. Is this why you wanted the divorce? You were already with him. He glared at Min Jun. Zane laughed, a real, genuine laugh. Marcus, you filed for divorce while I was pregnant, remember? You chose Victoria. I hope you're very happy together. But you're with him. Marcus's voice rose. Kang Min Jun. Do you even know what he is? What he does? I know exactly who he is, Zane said calmly. Do you know who I am? You're a social worker. I'm a trillionaire, Marcus. I own the building we're standing in. I own the company that Victoria's father is trying to merge with. And I own several very good lawyers who are still deciding whether to prosecute you for fraud. The blood drained from Marcus's face. So here's what's going to happen, Zane continued, her voice sweet and deadly. You're going to walk away. You're going to marry Victoria, and I wish you both the best. But you're never going to contact me again. You're never going to claim rights to my child. And if I see you anywhere near me or my family, I will destroy you so completely that you'll wish I just sent you to prison. Silence. Then Min-jun spoke, his voice carrying authority. I believe the lady has made herself clear. Jin-soo, please escort Mr. Wright and his fiancée out. With pleasure, boss. As security moved Marcus and a humiliated Victoria toward the exit, the ballroom erupted in whispers. An older black woman approached, elegant, powerful, wearing enough diamonds to buy a small country. Well done, she said to Zane. I'm Diane Carter. I knew your father well. She smiled. He said you were soft. I think he underestimated you. People often do, Zane said. Diane's laugh was delighted. Oh, I like her, Min-jun, don't let this one get away. She winked at Zane. Your father and I had business in 3 countries together. I'd love to continue that partnership. Call me next week. As Diane walked away, more people approached, no longer testing, but respecting. By the end of the night, Zane had secured 3 major business alliances, intimidated 2 rival CEOs into backing off their hostile takeover attempts, been offered a seat on 2 prestigious boards and completely owned her position as her father's heir. You were magnificent, Min-jun said as they left the gala. Every inch a queen. In the car, Zane finally let herself relax. I can't believe I did that. I can. Min-jun's eyes were warm. I've watched you transform over 2 weeks. You're everything your father said you'd be. Back at the building, they stood in the hallway between their floors, 45 and 46. So, Min-jun said. 2 weeks are up. What's your decision? Run the empire? Sell it? Disappear to that beach? Zane looked at him, this dangerous, beautiful man who'd spent 2 weeks teaching her, protecting her, looking at her like she was precious. I'm keeping it, she said. All of it. The businesses, the empire, the responsibility. She stepped closer. And I want you as my partner. Business partner. Business partner, Min-jun repeated, his voice rough. Is that all? For now. Zane's hand touched his chest. I'm about to be a single mother running a billion-dollar empire. I need to be smart about this. About us. Smart, Min-jun agreed. But his hand covered hers. And what would smart look like? Taking things slow. Getting to know each other outside of crisis mode. Making sure this is real and not just adrenaline in proximity. I can do slow, Min-jun said. I've waited 12 years for someone like you. I can wait a little longer. He lifted her hand to his lips. But Zane. I'm not going anywhere. And eventually, when you're ready, I'm going to court you properly. I'm going to show you exactly how devoted I can be. And then I'm going to make you mine in every way that matters. Zane's breath caught. That's quite a promise. I don't make promises I can't keep. Min-jun's smile was devastating. Good night, Zane Okonkwo. Sleep well. Tomorrow, we start building your empire. He walked to his private elevator, pressed the button for the 46th floor. Just before the doors closed, he looked at her one more time, and the heat in his eyes promised everything. Zane went to her apartment, her heart racing, and realized something. For the first time in years, she was excited about her future. 6 months later, the boardroom fell silent as Zane entered. At 7 months pregnant, she was glowing, powerful, confident, untouchable. Her custom maternity suit was tailored perfectly, and her father's signet ring gleamed on her hand. Gentlemen, ladies, she greeted the Okonkwo Industries Board of Directors. Thank you for coming. I have some announcements. She'd spent 6 months proving herself. Growing the empire. Making strategic moves that had doubled stock value and expanded their reach into new markets. And she'd done it while preparing for her baby, working with Min-jun, and slowly, carefully, falling in love. First, Zane continued, I'm promoting Sarah Kim to CFO. Her restructuring plan for the Asian markets exceeded all projections. Applause. Sarah, a brilliant woman her father had mentored, beamed. Second, we're partnering with Kong Industries on a new technology initiative. The details are in your packets. More approval. The Kong-a-Konkwo alliance was already legendary in business circles. And third, Zane smiled, I'm taking maternity leave in 8 weeks. In my absence, operations will be overseen by our new COO, Min-jun Kong. Shock. Whispers. I know some of you have concerns about the Kong family's reputation, Zane said calmly. But Min-jun has proven himself invaluable. This company was built on my father's vision. That vision included trust, loyalty, and family. Min-jun is family. After the meeting, Min-jun found her in her office, the corner office that used to be her father's. COO, he said, smiling. You didn't tell me. Surprise. Zane looked up from her desk. You've earned it. And I need someone I trust completely. Min-jun closed the door, crossed to her desk. These last 6 months had been torture, working together every day, their chemistry building, while maintaining professional boundaries. He'd courted her exactly as promised. Dinners, with Jin-soo discreetly present. Gifts, books, art, food for her pregnancy cravings. Late-night conversations that went on for hours. But he hadn't kissed her. Hadn't pushed. Had been the perfect gentleman. Zane was going insane. Min-jun, she said now, standing up. I have something to tell you. What's wrong? He was immediately alert, protective. Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. The business is thriving. The baby is healthy. I'm happy. She walked around the desk toward him. And I'm ready. Ready for what? To stop being smart. To stop going slow. Zane stopped in front of him, her heart pounding. I'm ready for you to keep your promise. To court me properly. To show me how devoted you can be. She looked up at him. I'm ready for us, Min-jun. His eyes went dark. Zane, you're pregnant, emotional, you might not. I'm 7 months pregnant with another man's baby, Zane cut him off. I'm running a billion-dollar empire. I'm strong, I'm certain, and I know exactly what I want. She put her hand on his chest. I want you. Not just as a business partner. Not just as my baby's godfather. I want you, Kong Min-jun. All of you. You're sure? I've never been more sure of anything. Min-jun's control snapped. He kissed her, finally, and it was everything Zane had dreamed. Passionate, claiming, tender all at once. His hands went to her face, her waist, careful of her belly. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Min-jun pressed his forehead to hers. I love you, he said simply. I've loved you since you walked into that lounge wearing emerald and looking like you could burn the world down. I love your strength, your mind, your fire. I love that you're bringing a baby into this world that I already consider mine to protect. I love everything about you, Zane Okonkwo. Zane's eyes filled with tears. I love you too. You've given me everything, safety, partnership, space to become who I was meant to be. You've never tried to diminish me or control me. You've just seen me. All of me. All of you is extraordinary. They kissed again, slower this time, savoring it. So what now? Min-jun asked. We're really doing this? We're really doing this. Zane smiled. But slowly. I want to have this baby first. Get settled into motherhood. And then. She looked at him from under her lashes. Then you can show me exactly what being yours means. Min-jun groaned. You're going to kill me. Probably. Zane laughed. But you said you could wait. For you. I'd wait forever. He kissed her forehead. Come on. Jin-soo made reservations at that fusion place you love. You need to eat. Bossy. You love it. I really do. So, what do you think happens next? Does Zayn's father's killer come for her? Does Marcus try to crawl back? And when do Minjun and Zayn finally give in to that chemistry? Eyes. Like this video if you need part 2 immediately. Comment more if you're addicted to this story. And subscribe because we drop the most dramatic, swoon-worthy Afro-Korean romances every single week. Your girl went from signing divorce papers to signing billion-dollar deals. That's the energy we're bringing into next year. See you in the next story, Queens and Kings.